right, so today we're going to cover a monthly recap for AI jobs and money news for the month of January, year 2026. I wanted to wait until the end of the month so we can understand what's happening and not only just reacting to what's being reported, but trying to understand what to expect moving forward. And before we get started, if you or anyone you know was affected by some of this news that we're going to cover today, I want to say I'm truly sorry. It's definitely not taken lightly around here, and it's never fun making these types of videos. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. For number one, we're going to start with Amazon. So Amazon announced corporate layoffs as part of a broader effort to flatten layers and reduce internal complexity. The number of jobs affected are 16,000 in this round. Right, we have to keep that in mind in this round. So this follows earlier reductions, making this a continuation, not a one-off thing. Let's look at the job types that are affected. So these are primarily white-collar corporate roles, and especially middle management, program and project management, internal coordination roles, and duplicate support functions. Who this hits first and who is safe for now. So hitting first is coordination heavy roles, non-revenue facing teams, and safer for now is customer facing, revenue linked and highly technical roles. What this does not mean. This does not mean that AI directly replaced 16,000 people this month. It means leadership feels confident enough in efficiency tools and systems to run leaner. A quick reality check that we should remember is that corporate reorganizations often come in waves, not a single cut. And some roles are reabsorbed elsewhere inside the company over time. What we can expect moving forward is that companies are becoming less tolerant of internal complexity. AI accelerates that mindset even when it's not the direct cause. Number two, let's take a look at UPS. So UPS announced plans to eliminate jobs in 2026 in closed facilities, following major changes to its delivery mix and automation strategy. So the number of jobs affected, we're looking at up to 30,000 over the year, 24 facility closures, and UPS already eliminated 48,000 jobs in 2025. The job types that are being affected, so because UPS is a physical network, cuts concentrate around facility-based operation roles, route-specific support staff, and some driver roles via buyouts and attrition. Let's see who this affects first and who is safer for now. So who this hits first are roles tied to specific buildings or low margin routes, and safer for now is specialized logistics, high complexity routing, and union protected roles. So this isn't AI took delivery jobs overnight. It's network redesign, fewer low margin deliveries, more automation, and tighter margins. And the reality check that we should keep in mind moving forward, UPS is still a labor-heavy business. Even with automation, large parts of its network will require human work for years. So that's a good sign. Let's take a look at what's starting to happen. Logistics companies are shrinking the surface area of their networks. So that changes labor demand even before full automation arrives. All right, let's take a look at number three. We're talking about Nike and their distribution and warehousing. So Nike announced layoffs tied to U.S. distribution centers as it accelerates warehouse automation and consolidation. So the number of jobs affected, we're looking at 775, concentrated in Tennessee and in Mississippi. The job types that are affected, so this primarily impacts warehouse floor staff, material handlers, distribution support roles. Who this hits first is repetitive work and location-dependent warehouse roles. And who is safer for now would be automation maintenance, logistic engineering, and supply chain analysts. What this does not mean is that this doesn't mean warehouses are fully automated. It means fewer people are needed per unit of output. A quick reality check for this one is automation in warehouses typically rolls out in stages. So not all at once and still requires human oversight. So that's a good sign. What's starting to happen and what we should keep in mind moving forward is that retail and logistics automation is no longer experimental, it's now operational. So number four, let's take a look at industrial cuts. So Dow Chemical just announced job cuts as part of a cost reduction and efficiency initiatives tied to automation and restructuring. The number of jobs affected are 4,500 jobs, and that'll be globally. Job types that are affected. So the cuts tend to cluster in administrative functions, corporate support, and duplicate business unit roles. Who this is going to hit first is overhead and coordination roles, and who is safer for now is plant operations, compliance critical, and specialized engineering. A quick reality check on this one is that in industrial firms, some functions are restructured rather than permanently eliminated. So impacts can shift over time. And also what's starting to happen is that this confirms that pattern that AI efficiency is not limited to tech companies, which that is not good news. All right, so for number 5, we're going to take a look at the January layoff snapshot. Basically, just a clear picture of what happened throughout the month. As of late January, tracking outlets counted 60,000 plus job cuts announced across major companies. The type of jobs that we're talking about here, it looks like corporate support, operation coordination, logistics and distribution, non-revenue linked white collar roles. So we should remember this moving forward, that these aren't instant shocks. It says here that they are slow, rolling reorganizations, and that's why they feel everywhere at once. I guess that's basically saying that's why the news, it seems like every day there's just more and more and more news rolling out. All right, next we're going to take a look at markets and money and what January signaled. On the market side, January didn't feel like panic, it felt like recalibration. So on the money side, big tech and AI infrastructure companies held investor attention even as layoffs were spreading elsewhere. So that tells us something important. Wall Street is still betting on AI spending even while companies are cutting costs. And in plain terms, we saw a split month. Workers were feeling pressure from layoffs. Investors were still rewarding companies that talked about AI infrastructure and efficiency. So that gap matters because it shows this transition isn't just about jobs disappearing, it's about where money is being reallocated. All right, number 6, so this is where some good news came in. So we had the NVIDIA CEO talking about some of the job creation that AI is going to produce coming up here. So NVIDIA's CEO said the AI boom is driving demand for infrastructure and trade jobs, including 6-figure roles tied to building AI factories. So what jobs are going to be created? So these include electricians, plumbers and pipe fitters, construction and steel workers, data center technicians, network and power infrastructure roles. And it says here that there is no verified single number of jobs that this will create as of January. But I'm going to keep an eye out for that, and then I'll let you know here as soon as I find out something. So what we do know is that the demand is real, jobs are concentrated in physical infrastructure build out, and scale is meaningful, but not one for one with white collar layoffs. Basically means that there's definitely way more jobs being eliminated than being created. But we should celebrate this good news for these trade roles being created. So what this does not mean is that this does not solve displacement. It changes the mix of work, not the total instantly. And the reality check that we have to remember moving forward is that these jobs depend on continued AI infrastructure spending and are unevenly distributed by region. So number 7, we're going to cover Tesla's Robotaxi progress and their humanoid robot progress. I actually did a deep dive on these two subjects in the video that was published last week, and I'm going to link that right after this video if you're interested to check that out. So just real quick, Tesla began unsupervised robotaxi rides in Austin, though availability and scale remain limited. This signal isn't technical perfection, it's a willingness to deploy publicly, even before systems are flawless. So that's why he was celebrating in January, because they're making progress on this stuff. The timeline moving forward, so transportation automation unfolds over years, not weeks. So January matters because it shows direction, not final outcomes. So number 8 will be Tesla's humanoid robots and their Optimus timelines. So Tesla said a production-ready Optimus version is expected in 2026, with public availability targeted for 2027. So jobs most likely affected in the long term, we're looking at warehouse support, repetitive manufacturing tasks, and basic material handling. So they do have limits on these, and it looks like it's going to be cost, reliability, and deployment complexity remain a major constraint. So this is a future pressure, not a 2026 shock. All right, so let's take a look at a monthly scoreboard of what we experienced in January 2026. It looks like layoffs are up, broadening across major sectors. Automation is up, moving into real systems. New jobs, but narrow and uneven compared to the layoffs. Worker leverage is mixed, and a timeline that we're looking at is slow, structural, but not instant. And let's look at a quick company overview for what happened in January. Companies are continuing to cutting overhead, redesigning networks, automating operations, and building new infrastructure that favors different kinds of work. So altogether, January was a pretty heavy month when it comes to all these job cuts and all these changes. And it looks like this transition is going to be pretty heavy and pretty bumpy moving forward. So I will stay up to date on this stuff, and I will see you next month for another monthly update. And hopefully there's some better news. And until then, take care.